소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을
조심스럽게
환영합니다.
나아가라.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Thank you very much, Dracos, and welcome back to the match of the week. We can already see Caps getting a little bit of trading into Ignar. Has a little bit of shenanigans starting around the map. And a very different look team composition here for G2 Esports. Not quite what I was expecting. But you know what? I should expect something different because this is a team that likes to surprise us in the draft.
Yeah, they certainly do. Jace bot lane, we've kind of seen littered throughout the years. Most recently, we have seen it a couple times in the bot lane POV. I'm almost certain we've seen it in the LPL.
We've also seen it at the World Championship a few years ago.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking
very
of.
Well.
Yeah, the EDG versus Fnatic quarterfinal where Deft played it up against Reckless. Yeah, definitely wasn't as successful as they would have liked. Fun fact, it was running TP back then as well, ahead of the times. But perks on this Jace. You'll notice that he is running the Airy. This will help a lot with his poke. And it definitely makes the pushing matchup that much easier for him. And what you'll notice is that every time Upset and Ignar try to approach the wave, they do outrange the Jace, which means that it shouldn't actually be that easy for Perks to immediately just constantly keep that shove going.
Okay, so if we keep our eyes on this matchup, Upset and Ignar playing the slightly more traditional team composition, or duo, we should say. A little bit of a race to level 2. Ignar stepping very far forward and will take a couple shots. Of course, that Brawn passive will be very, very influential. When I look at the rest of the minimap, obviously Abadage at early levels is pushing into Caps, and for the time being, Odo and Wonder trading fairly evenly up in the top lane. So outside of, you know, the Yorick is interesting, the Jace is interesting, so there's a lot of like split decision making on where Memento and Jankos try to find some advantages for their teams.
So for Memento, I don't think his early goal is to really try and snowball any lane. He's going to wait for that level 6 mark, and I think that his goal should be to try and counter gank Jankos, because the thing about Elise is very early game focused champion. She's very much about trying to snowball her laners and trying to be ahead of the enemy jungler herself. So the best lanes in order for her to find that early success is in the bot lane and in the mid lane, because you have the Braum setup and you have the LeBlanc setup, and you can already see warding coming out from Schalke to prepare for this. Bot lane ward, there's also the River Scuttle that's been secured. Schalke have full knowledge of where Jankos is.
Jankos, the ward is just going to expire, so the debris falls underneath his feet. He'll be aware that he's been spotted. Memento was able to get that Scuttle Crab and back away, but while Memento's on the Sentinel, we'll be able to pick that one up. Actually, he even uses the Spell Shield to block that volatile Spiderling. That's a decent enough start for Schalke. Good ward, good understanding of where Jankos could be going. And they played with respect, of course, because Jankos was spotted at bottom. Odo feels very comfortable shoving this wave in. And it's something you and I have spoken a fair amount about coming into this week. Videos was about how pushing lanes and having control in the lanes can help you out at different stages.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about the mid lane matchup in particular, because what you'll notice is that typically when it comes to champions like LeBlanc, they actually have pressure because they have kill pressure. So they'll actually have a lot of ability to just jump on top of your face and try and go for those aggressive trades. Meanwhile, the problem is that at early levels, Lissandra actually has a lot more wave clear, which means that she typically has more push. We don't have time for that because we've got to look back to top.
All right, where's the Cocoon? Will connect. Disdain gets a little bit of CC, but there's just not enough damage to get into Odo Omne, who had the flash inside that Dark Procession, so he's able to escape with his life for now.
Yeah, so the thing about the top lane, I'm a little surprised that Jankos would actually go for that kind of a play, because one of the difficulties of trying to gank Yorick lane is he really doesn't have that much damage in the early game. A lot of his damage is very reliant on the number of ghouls that he has, and those ghouls, the more spawn and they get stronger, the more levels that he has. So by only being level 4, he really doesn't offer a lot, meaning that trying to snowball that in the early game really doesn't offer a huge amount of value.
Not right now, and of course some small CS advantages for nearly everybody on the side of Schalke is to build them up a 600 gold lead. You know, obviously there is available gold and experience on the map here for Schalke and Northfear for G2 Esports rather, to pick up. And of course, once Caps and Jankos hit level 6, or rather get the ability to use LeBlanc's level 6 a little more effectively, that's when Jankos' tower dives and threat in those side lanes becomes so much more impactful.
So we've got to keep our eyes right now on what Memento is up to, because notice again, he's just setting up vision. He's been spending his time farming, wants to try and track where Jankos is and try and mitigate his early snowball. He's already level 5 and has has a 10 CS advantage over Jankos, which means that he's doing a good job right now of mitigating any kind of early pressure.
Yeah, really good job, and that's so important when Jankos is on this stronger early game jungler as well, with the amount of influence.
And it's really important as well, because if we then tie it back into how that works with the mid lane, what you'll notice is that Jankos already looking for another gank. The chains land as well.
All right, Caps is going to be able to root on Abadage. That's a flash into Cocoon. Self-cast on Abadage's tomb means there's no further follow-up, and as far as summoner spells are concerned, only Jankos commits the flash. Not done yet. Caps is forced to dash away with a distortion, and I wondered if Abadage could have got the W down. Did not get close enough for this particular engage. And so much credit to Memento. In the Match of the Week video that led up to this, there was discussion around how G2 felt they had to control Memento. They had to use Jankos to do it, and Jankos' early game impact has just not been there yet. But there is a lot of time. The chains interrupt Abadage. He's got no self-cast. And with the help of Perks, just as I'm trying to flame Jankos, he picks up first blood.
And Abadage chose to use his E rather than the flash. He did not expect the cocoon to come out of nowhere. I believe he didn't quite have vision of Jankos coming up through the river, and he certainly wasn't expecting Perks to be there as well. So, well, they did in fact actually have full vision of it, but he wasn't able to react in time. So I feel like that not using the flash was a big disrespect play there from the side of Schalke.
Oh man, so well played by Jankos. I literally was just about to set that up. Now, underneath this outer turret in the bottom lane, it's a little bit of pressure. Stand United is getting closer for Ignar, but Memento was waiting in the wings if any sort of skirmishes had broken out. And they absolutely could have gone in for the initiation, but it didn't work out this time round. And Schalke, no fear, they still maintain parity as far as gold is concerned. But first blood to Perks on his bot lane Jace, and he picked up the Serrated Dirk as well, which is just going to help him out so much.
So yeah, here we have Perks just coming out of the bush. They're in full knowledge of where he is. Abadage chooses to use it. He should just flash at this point. Yeah, he doesn't get out of the range of the chains as well. But I like the fact that Perks actually moved up to try and help his jungler there. He recognized that he couldn't do much in the bot side of the map, and trying to push by himself was very dangerous, especially against the Shen lane. So the fact that they're able to find this, and you know, we talk a little bit about Jankos. His early game impact has been one of the strongest in the league. We talked a little bit about it last week, where he reminded me very much of his old First Blood King days, where even though he's not that involved in as many First Bloods as he is now, as he was back then, he's very involved in a lot of the early game action. He gets a lot of early kills for his team, and even though a lot of the discussion has been around the success of Caps and Perks, Jankos has been the largest facilitator for this team for where all those kills come from.
It's absolutely beautiful, and the man that they killed is also a man that has kind of gotten away with a little bit of murder in recent weeks. Medius. Abadage has some of the highest solo deaths, or highest deaths at 15 in the entire league. He's died 12 times over the last 10 games. This is now 13. It's a significant amount of early game deaths, which is something that can be extremely problematic when teams start to learn that they can pick on those tendencies.
I mean, you say that, and G2 are already attacking that lane, right? He is a rookie at the LEC this year, and while he has received a lot of praise for his team fighting, the fact that he has been dying in every single game has kind of gone unnoticed, and right now, again, they're looking to attack.
Oh, look at those globals, the paranoia, and Stand United is going to work so well. Defensive flash away, Cap stays alive a few seconds longer. Schalke are unable to commit or confirm the kill. And G2 Esports, they are able to escape with Caps' life unscathed. And the reason we start talking about Abadage and the early game deaths, at 1.2 average deaths per 15 minutes, it is nearly double the mid lane average, which is 0.56. This time around, Abadage, with the help of Schalke, wasn't able to put a kill in Caps' pre-15 bucket. And that means that they maintain a small goal lead thanks to the CS.
So what we saw there was the power of Nocturne and Shen in their ability to deny some of these early plays that G2 tried to force. The ultimate from Nocturne combined with the ultimate from Shen means that what should have been a numbers advantage for G2 is actually immediately converted into a numbers advantage for Schalke, which means that Caps doesn't get a kill. He's forced to burn both the cleanse and the flash, and Abadage gets a little bit more freedom in the laning phase. And what was really impressive was how Caps utilized his passive in that setup as well. Notice how what happened was he went into his passive when the ultimate dropped. He then cleansed while he was invisible, dashed back to the original point, and the rest of Schalke focused his clone without actually focusing Caps, which means that while he did have to burn his flash because Abadege realized at the last minute, he still got away with his life.
So very well played, and you'd expect nothing less from a man of Caps' caliber on a champion like LeBlanc that has that ability to use that passive and play the mind games. And of course, we focused a lot on the mid and the bot lane because of the early game impact the champions will have. But we've neglected Wonder on his Yorick a little. He's going even in CS with Odo. Odo's picked up the Cull, Merc Treads, already 50 CS towards completion. Small gold advantage right now in Odo Omne's back pockets. But I mean, this Yorick is really going to fit the ability to play 1-3-1 as well. Can play on the side lane really well, so it fits the theme of the G2 team composition.
So the thing about Yorick is in the laning phase, he's typically pretty weak. He gets really strong as a duelist once he gets levels and once he completes the Trinity Force. Now, we might not again have time to talk about that because Jankos and Caps are looking for some stuff in the mid lane. But again, look at the positioning of Memento. Always around, very aware. I have ulti, I'm prepared to counter gank, and if you're in trouble, I will help you. So don't worry about it, Abadage. You keep doing your thing, and I'll make sure that you're nice and safe. You can see he's even got a CS advantage in this situation as well. So love the way in which Memento is utilizing this Nocturne right now. Rather than be proactive, he's being reactive and trying to read the map.
Which helps a lot when you consider the burst damage that can come down from Nocturne and Lissandra, as well as in a few seconds' time, Ignar stands united. It's currently got about 10% of the cooldown left. Jankos is still looking to find a place to impact this map. Jankos waiting in the wings, stood on top of that control ward. And Schalke maintain a small goal lead despite conceding first blood. I still find that very impressive. But one thing we didn't mention just yet was that Perkz already has that Ghost Blade completed, because he was the one that picked up first. But if you look at the mini-map, it is G2 that's pushing into Schalke's jungle, but the focus right now with Caps, the passive is killed, secured. Now all of a sudden Stand United throw down to Memento. Defensive flash away from Mickey, and in the melee, it's a Stand United. Not going to be enough just yet. Mickey stays alive for a few seconds longer. Look at the true shot barrage. Upset is deleting G2 where they stand. Wonder completes a teleport and throws down the Maiden, but she simply cannot help. 3-0 to Schalke.
Beautiful stuff from Schalke, and it all comes off the back of a fantastic punish from Memento. When we bring the replay up, I just want you to keep your eyes on Caps and what he does in the lane, because he recognizes the situation that Abadage is in. You can still see he has no mana in his bar right now, which means that he can't push the wave. Caps is thinking, okay, I want to try and punish this. I want to take advantage of this and get a quick push in so that I can go back to base sooner. That means that he's going to use both his W and his ultimate on the wave. What does that give the signal to? Memento to engage. No more escape tools. His flash isn't available. All they need to do is land the fear, follow that up with Abadage, and then the chaos ensues from the fight. You have the teleport in from the top lane, you have the teleport in from the Ezreal as well, and while all of G2 get chunked out, Upset can come in from the side and start to clean up. So Schalke very quickly convert what was a small mistake from Caps into 3 very huge kills.
Greedy decision-making from Caps ends up turning around. Schalke extend the lead 1,500. I got so caught up in the action. Ignar got that double Shadow Dash taunt after completing the Stand United. I literally was so excited I frothed at the mouth. I couldn't get the words out. Schalke, instantaneous reaction. And it gives you a little bit of hope when you think about this team that many people were calling second best in Europe next to Origin. Origin beat Schalke last weekend, G2 last weekend, and now Schalke want to try to do the same. Ignar's going to be in a lot of trouble. Paranoia comes down. Ignar stays alive long enough to escape with his life. Here comes Upset. He picks up a kill onto Perkz, but it's at the cost of 2. That's a double for Caps. Abadage is looking to turn it back around, but it's a 3-on-2, and Upset just gets deleted. The fangs are sunk in, and he is taken out. Now Abadage gets one on the way out, but look at the stun that manages to land from Mickey. Jankos is looking to chase a little bit further. The cocoon interrupts the claw, and Abadage goes down. G2 swing right back.
And then all of a sudden, G2 find themselves with 4 kills. This game is turning into a bloodbath before we've even hit the 15-minute mark. And the problem for Schalke is that's not what they want. It was great for them finding those early kills because it could mean it would slow down the snowball plan that G2 had for themselves. But now all these kills are being picked up by Caps. Now they're putting themselves in a situation where they can leverage their solo laners. So this starts with Ignar. He knows he has Memento and Upset around, so he thinks he's he's fine to make this play. Mickey and Perks get over-aggressive here. They shouldn't try for this, and ultimately, this was a bad mistake that ends up getting punished. The reason why it gets turned around is because Caps has priority in mid, he makes the faster rotation up, and he actually goes back onto Upset knowing that Jankos is behind him, and they can get the kill. Beautiful use of the LeBlanc mobility to find that. Unfortunately, he can't create a big enough gap away from Abadage to stop the ultimate from coming down, which means that Abadage can pick up some kills, but it's not enough to escape from the duo of Jankos and Mickey.
Jankos and Mickey, and you know what, everybody really hitting every single skill shot they needed to. Winter's Bite over the wall, near, instantaneous cocoons from Jankos. And in the thick of it, at 15 minutes, we have a bang-on even game. Jankos this time round will be looking to go fishing down the bottom lane. Memento's paranoia will come up in a second or two, but look at the support. Now Abadage's left mid lane, and we've got Australia lanes. Both duos up top, and Odo is going to try to defend this tower. Paranoia as well as Stand United, Ignar and Memento are diving into the back line. The hourglass is used, but the tower has now fallen. Jankos just gets killed, but it's in trade for Memento's life. Odo's running for his life as he's trying to sustain to safety. Caps is running him down. Abadage's in trouble as Wanda's trying to chase him out. Caps looks for the distort, looks for the Sigil of Malice, gets the chains, not done yet. There goes the ghouls, and Wanda sends Abadage packing. Ignar and Upset were interrupted. I think the Stand United may have been interrupted, in fact, as Schalke are trying to defend the top tower.
And now Schalke are buying into the chaos, and they need to sell right now, because this is where G2 thrive. Caps is just roaming around the map, finding pick after pick. He's completed his first major item in the Luden's Echo, and he is punishing every time Schalke go for this skirmish. The actual play itself looked pretty promising for Schalke initially, but they got outplayed. G2 find themselves more kills, and now again, Caps is on the road.
Look at this, Caps kills Upset. And I thought LeBlancs couldn't do that anymore.
Well, no, they can, dude. They 100% can. LeBlanc with Sword Boots and Luden's Echo, in my opinion, is one of her scariest points in the game. She is so strong because she has 2 points in her ultimate, and she has so much just raw burst damage that you have to show so much respect. And I love the way in which Caps is just pushing mid and roaming and stopping. Abadage just never follows. He never has the ability to. So we have to go back to the first replay. This is where things all kick off. Start off by looking at a minimap. You can see Abadage isn't here. So what they try to do, Schalke, is try to engage before the tower drops. Now the problem is, for them, is that Jankos immediately re-engages. He uses all of his burst on Memento, who's extremely squishy. So even though he gives up his life, it's at the cost of, hey, I've used everything, so now it's a 2v2. Fun fact, Yorick at level 12 with a Trinity Force and a LeBlanc at level 11 with a Ludens wins pretty much every single 2v2.
Cool guys don't look at explosions. The ghouls pick up the kill, and crucially, while all that was happening, Mickey did throw down the Glacial Fissure to interrupt Ignar's channel and Stand United, which meant any potential follow-up taunt simply was not going to happen. You can imagine how impactful a 2 or a 3-man taunt could have been in that scenario. It didn't happen, and therefore G2 Esports 2 towers to 0, 9 kills to 6, and 2,000 gold up with an uncontested Rift Herald for now, especially with Perks hitting those shot blasts.
Really happy that you noticed that quick shot, because you're right, if Ignar was there, he could have swung that fight heavily in the favor of G2. But regardless, that didn't happen. G2 secured a tower top, they've secured a tower mid, they've secured all the outer towers. This game looked pretty promising for Schalke. I was really impressed with how Memento was just following Jankos around the map, interrupting every play he tried to make. The fact that they had 3 kills before the 15-minute mark, all they had to do was slow the game down. But G2, they're a team that never likes to slow down. They keep trying to make plays. They look for constant ganks. And already, even though Caps is sacrificing farm, he's at 5, 2, and 3. He has an 800 gold bounty, and he is the reason why G2 is finding so much success right now.
Again and again and again. Caps, you just cannot discount him. And G2 are just sitting very comfortable. They've got a great situation. Their 1-3-1 has been enabled. Look, LeBlanc was up in the top lane. Wonder and Yorick is down at the bottom. He's going to be on a little bit of pressure. Gets caught. You're not locked inside with me. I'm locked inside with you. Fear beyond death. Picks up the kill, but that is a lot invested for the single kill. What else will G2 be able to secure?
Well, they do have the Rift Herald, which means that Schalke won't be able to rotate back fast enough to defend. Abadage is in trouble as well.
Yeah, he's in so much trouble. Flash is available to him, but I think he's going to get taken out before it can work. The Rift Herald manages to get a secondary boop onto the inner turret, inhibitor turret rather. And yes, Schalke used their abilities to get a kill in the bottom lane, but it's at the cost of their mid laner's life, their mid tower, and 50% of the inhib as well.
Yeah, that was a big mistake there from Abadage. He got caught out by the chains. He didn't have the flash available to him, and I feel like he has an over-reliance on this E because twice now it has failed him and allowed G2 to extend their advantage.
Ooh, take a look at that. Caps looking for upset in the back. Caps actually used his flash to respect the burst damage. Not only did Caps insta-give him earlier, but now Caps has an Oblivion Orb as well, which he didn't have last time.
9 stacks on his Dark Steel as well.
Unbelievable. I mean, Caps is just terrifying. And of course, if Perks ever lands any poke, then it's just easy for Caps to finish it up. I mean, the last time Perks played against Schalke, his stats were pretty good, in fact. 10% jungle proximity in the early game. He had a CSD advantage over Upset. You can see Perks right now up at 50 CS in this matchup. Admittedly, he's had a couple of ganks and had a couple of plays go his way.
And it's been a really interesting game in terms of how things have played out, because we kind of saw what we expected from G2, which is Jankos playing very much more around the mid lane. He had the option of potentially playing around bot lane as well, but instead just focused on the mid lane, and we even saw Perks roam up too to try and help Caps. And I think the whole early game plan for G2 has just been try and get Caps ahead. You know what he can do on highly mechanically intensive champions, and I think that he's demonstrating it once again, that when you put a carry in this man's hands and you actively play around him, you're almost guaranteed success.
And this is exactly what G2's comp wanted to do, right? They have the strings to take the lead, you know, in the 1 to 2 item mark. Schalke, they're down 4,000 gold, but they do have the ability to kill crucial targets when you combo up all the abilities. But their window for them to claw back control of this game is shrinking by the second.
So it's one of those situations where their team fighting is still very solid because they can engage with Lissandra flank, and they have the Nocturne plus Shen combo. The problem is that if they try to fight right now with the item spikes that G2 is sitting on, they're likely just going to lose. And G2, they're not relenting on the pressure, and they can also very easily split Schalke up across the map if they want to.
Well, take a look at that. G2 have already split Schalke in their own jungle. Ignar forced to flash defensively once Mickey threw down the Fisher. Cap steps all the way forward and goes back to the W. Odo fancies himself a shot, trying to get fear beyond death. Here comes Abadage, flash forward, looking for the tomb. Maybe the subclass doesn't get a chance. Abadage's down. The chain CC sends him through the fountain, and G2 Esports find 2 quick kills. Odo is the next target. He's going to get locked down by the Cocoon and sent packing as well. 3 more kills to G2 Esports, and they're looking at the Nexus.
Yeah, G2 might look to try and end the game 22.5 minutes in. That loss to Origin looks like it did not dent them at all, as Schalke will likely fall.
Oh, absolutely nothing that Schalke can do right now. G2 Esports looking for more kills underneath the fountain, may not be able to pick it up. You know what? It's not even needed. The Nexus goes down, and G2 defeats Schalke.